welcome to my channel, Who's Your Outdoor 1969. Today's video, I'm going to go over my Ruger American Predator in 223. I bought this a couple years ago. Obviously, like I said, it's a Ruger American Predator in 223. It's the first gen. I've seen the second gens. I think they look better than what the first gen does. But anyways, like I said, this is first gen in 223. Beats from a detachable box magazine. 20, it's either 20 or 22-inch barrel on this one. I think it's a 22. Threaded. Did it come with? Yeah, it came with a scope rail already on it. I put a 20 MOA on it. Let's see. The bolt. Yeah, okay. I was trying to start things. Like I said, come with a threaded muzzle with the thread protector on there, and I did have a muzzle brake on it, and I got a suppressor, so I put the adapter on it for it. Just did that here recently. When I first got this, and I mounted the scope on it, I was having all sorts of accuracy issues. I'd get 2, 3, 4 shots, where they wanted to go, and then I'd have a shot just kind of kick off somewhere. And I was getting frustrated with it. I thought maybe the stock was loose because that's a plastic stock, so it's not going to be super rigid. Because I could feel a little bit of movement here at the tang, which, excuse me, I just figured it's probably me just flexing a little bit, trying to squeeze the trigger, because even though it's a user adjustable trigger, it's not that good of a trigger. I got the set screw taken out as far as I can go without it coming out, and it won't go below 3 pounds. I get from 3 to it floats between 3.5 pounds. So I can check it once, I get 3 pounds. Check it again, I get 3.5. Check it again at 3.25. I'm not sure how high you can set it, which I'm not sure why you'd want a super heavy trigger. I guess if you're buying it for placing places where 22 or 223 is suitable for hunting, yeah, I could possibly see having a kind of a heavy trigger, especially if you're sitting still. But still, so the trigger is one complaint. Sorry, brain's a little scrambled today. Like I said, when we replaced the scope and put scope mount and put this base on there, it's a 20-minute base. And like I said, after I doing that, my accuracy was kind of, because I did it before I even shot it. Actually was kind of, it went downrange. That'd be a good way to describe it. Now I'm sitting there getting frustrated, and a friend of mine that I used to shoot with was kind of seeing the same thing I was seeing. And it took me forever to figure it out. And I think the last time I had it out, when I got really mad at it, after I got home, I was sitting there cleaning it, and I just happened to look right here where the scope and the base is. I wanted the scope as low as possible, and I definitely succeeded on that, because the scope was actually pushing down on the base. So once I figured that out, I found some other rings that I had sitting around, which are these here. I put these on, got it re-zeroed, and I haven't had a problem with it since then. I haven't sat down and put it on paper, so this is just a guess. But from what I've been seeing after getting my little screw up taken care of, looks like it's holding pretty solid at a minute, all the way out to at least 600 yards. I haven't shot it past that yet. I believe it's a 22-inch barrel with an 8 twist. So it's a 1 and 8. I shoot 75 grain bullets out of it, and it actually shoots really good. I tried shooting some heaviers, but 75 is about the most this one's going to spin. It's got a polymer stock, 2-position safety. When it's unsafe, you can still work the bolt to, like, if you got around in the chamber, you'd still be able to chamber it. And then forward for fire. For the bolt, when I was checking in on these, some of these have like a zip sound with the bolt in. If it's quiet, I can hear it, but otherwise I don't really notice it. For the bolt, though, the biggest complaint I had was the bolt handle. It's just a little just a little nub that sticks out. It was either Glades Armory or Anarchy Outdoors is where I got this one from. It's actually a two-piece bolt. This, I don't think I put, maybe I did put Loctite on it. All right, this actually threads onto the body. To replace this is actually pretty simple. Extraction on this is actually pretty positive, as well as ejection. It'll fling it out without a problem. Whether or not it's a spent case or loaded around it, it pulls it without an issue. Magazines, this is just a 10 round. Some magazines fit better than others. I got a metal magazine that I have a single shot follower in that fits real tight in the mag well here. This one, oops, it's got a little bit of play in it, but it's not horrible. Like I said, that metal mag that I got fits super tight. I mean, I got to really lean on it to get it in there, and then yank on it pretty good to get it to come out. Like I said, this one here pops in, comes out pretty easy. This is your, if you have an AR-15, you'll recognize the button because that's exactly what it is. That's the type of lockup it has in there. The stock, it's plastic. It's hollow back here. And also there's videos on YouTube that shows what you can do to help stiffen these up. Eventually I'm going to replace this. I just haven't decided what I'm going to replace it with yet. I just know it's going to be either a better stock or a chassis. I just haven't decided because I've been looking at Indian Creek. I've also been looking at NDT, which I have several of MDT products, a couple of my other rifles. Let's see. How do you think here? I know there's aftermarket triggers out here. I think Timony is one. And I also know there's some companies out there that have replacement springs for the trigger to help make it a better trigger. Like I said, the trigger's not horrible. I'm just used to my other triggers, so that I got on my 308, my 22-250 that are a whole lot better than this. Like I said, as far as adjusting it, it's actually pretty simple. You got these two screws you take out, the action comes out, and right in front of the whole trigger assembly, you'll see a little, what looks like a set screw, and you just either turn it in or turn it out. If you turn it in, it makes it heavier. If you turn it out, it makes it lighter. The scope I have on here is an Athlon Argos BTR 6x24x50. This is a first gen. They're on Gen 3 now. I just found that out here recently. It's 1/2x28, standard threading, 1/2x28. Like I said, I did have a muzzle, well, still got a muzzle brake on there, but I just had a standalone muzzle brake. Not that you need it with the 223, because there's not much recoil in the first place. And then, like I said, with the brake that I had on there, and even with this brake, it really doesn't move. I get more of a twitch than anything. I think the rings are primary arm rings. I can't remember. I just happened to found a set. As far as the bolt actually slides in real easy once you remove it. Then up, pull it back. And then on this side, right here, there's a little lever. So you just press that lever, and the bolt slides right out. So it's pretty simple. I got a Tika, an older Tika. The takedown's similar like that. It's best way to describe it's a modified Mauser takedown. But yeah, like it says in here, it's a modified Mauser. So one of the ones I was looking at was the Oryx chassis for MDT, but their chassis and the Gen 1s for the feed ramp won't work, from what I was told. There's something with the geometry that's different. So it doesn't, from what they told me, it doesn't work with the AICS pattern magazine. Gen 2 might be different. So I know the Indian Creek I was looking at, I sent them an email asking, told them I had a Gen 1, and they said, yeah, it wouldn't be an issue. You can run it with an AICS pattern magazine. I know with MDT, their LSS chassis uses an AR style magazine, which is fine. I mean, I don't have an issue with them, but I just want something different. I can't leave anything factory. Recoil pad is, it's a recoil pad. I mean, it can be just a piece of plastic and you'd be fine. Like I said, as far as accuracy, and I'm just guessing because I haven't put it on paper because I just finally got it, figured out what I was doing wrong. And like I said, it seems to be holds MOA all the way out to at least 600, at least as long as I do what I'm supposed to do. I think if I replace the trigger, even with the way it's set up now, just replacing the trigger, I think will help out. I think that's now is the biggest cause for some of my issues. So I got, it takes so much effort to make it go bang. At least that's what it feels like. As far as the scope, I'm a fan of Athlon, of this particular scope, Athlon Optics. There's obviously better out there because I also got a couple of Vortex Venoms that I absolutely love. Which the prices on those are coming down too, which is a plus. If, like I said, the biggest thing I would change, excluding the trigger, obviously I'd change the stock. I'd find something like a wood stock to put it in, or a chassis if that's your thing. I think just doing either of those two things, like if you put it in a wood stock and bed it in, or if you put it in a chassis, some people say you can bed it, put a skim coat bedding job in a chassis. I got a couple of different chassis. I haven't done anything that, and just as is, they shoot good. But like I said, if you like the stock and don't want to change that, just changing the trigger. Either putting in an aftermarket trigger, or I think it's M Carbo has a spring that you can replace. That's supposed to make this trigger better. I don't. There's something about the little catch safety that's inside here. It's Ruger's version of the AccuTrigger from Savage. I know on Glocks they have that little lever in there. I can feel that once my finger, now I can feel it when I first make contact, but once I get all the way back where it's flush, I can feel that gap, and that messes with me. Why, I don't know, but it does. So, I mean, overall, like I said, my biggest complaint is going to be the trigger. I mean, stock itself isn't bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's definitely usable. It's all the main things. But to kind of start from the beginning, kind of go over everything that I can think of offhand. So it's the Ruger American Predator Gen 1 and 223, not 5.56, but it's 223, 1 and 8 twist. I'm pretty sure it's a 22-inch barrel with a 1/2 by 28 threaded muzzle. It did come with a scope, a one-piece scope base. I took that off and put a 20-minute on there because eventually I'm going to take it up to 1,000. Cheap plastic stock that's hollow. Got an Athlon Argos 6 to 24 by 50 scope. First focal, second. Shit. I can't remember if it's first or second focal plane. MOA adjust. I changed the bolt handle. Stock bolt's usable, but like I said, I don't know, I just don't like the way it feel. It had enough length to it, so that wasn't the issue. I don't know. The knob part just for me wasn't enough to grab hold of. So I'm pretty sure this is the Glades Armory bolt handle. So like I said, it's either going to be Glades Armory or Anarchy Outdoors. Standard AR-15 mag or Stenag mag. In my case, the metal mag that I use fits really tight in here. This one's not too bad. I haven't tried one of the, high capacity, standard capacity, 30 round magazine. I haven't tried that in there. I think I did shove because I got a beta mag. I think I shoved that in there, and it just for the hell of it looks kind of funny, but it did lock in. I haven't tried shooting with it. I just did it for the hell of it because I get bored easy. You got your sling swivels, two position safety. I mean, obviously it's unloaded. Okay, that's on fire. Oops, that's on safe. So even when it's on safe, it still works full. So if you had something, had a round in there, you'd be able to remove it. Let's see, take this back out. Like I said, overall, it's turning out to be a pretty good rifle. I'm glad I bought it. pay when I bought. I think I paid right around $500 when I bought this, maybe a little less. I don't remember. I got it wrote down somewhere. But I said overall, I'm happy with it. I'm even more happy with it now that I got my little X-ray issue taken care of. So just learn from my mistake. You know, when you go to mount a scope, make sure your scope's not actually touching the base because it will screw things up. Ask me how I know. Um, Overall, I just figured I'd throw a video together real quick and try and get one out. And say if you've made it through my ramblings this far, I appreciate it. And if you would, please like, share, and subscribe. Um, I am trying to slowly build it. I'm not in a hurry. However long it takes is however long it takes. Anyways, I appreciate you listening to my rambling. And until next time, have a good one.